I'm Yaniv Price, a software engineering leader, coach, consultant, and the author of Fixing Management. Welcome to Fixing Management, the podcast that gives actionable guidance on becoming a more effective leader. Today we're talking about something that most managers never think about consciously: practicing management. Not doing your job, running meetings, having one-on-ones, or strategy. I mean practicing management the same way a musician practices scales or an athlete drills fundamentals. Because if management is a skill, and it absolutely is, then you improve it only through structured, intentional practice. You're not automatically good at managing just because someone gave you direct reports. Yet managers behave like the job should be intuitive. They wing it on leadership, communication, motivation, delegation, skills that in any other profession require deliberate training. This is why so many managers plateau or repeat the same mistakes for years. They do management, but they never practice management. And what exacerbates the issue is the unfortunate lack of feedback from our managers. Without practice, there's little improvement. Practicing management doesn't mean reading books or wishing you were more organized. It means building a deliberate system around 4 questions. 1. What am I trying to get better at? Most managers don't know. They want to be a better leader. That's too vague. Practice requires targets. Giving timely feedback, asking better questions, delegating outcomes, improving clarity, or strengthening trust. 2. How will I practice this skill deliberately? If you want to get better at piano, you don't only play songs, you practice scales and techniques and receive immediate feedback. We learn the most on the job, but if you want to get better at management, you don't only do your week, you practice those micro skills inside it. 3. How will I measure progress? Managers often rely on feelings. I think I'm improving. No other profession is that sloppy. Practice needs indicators. Number of feedback conversations, clarity of expectations, your direct reports' reactions, the signals you get in one-on-ones. This can also be proxy measurements, but remember the feedback loop is not short like compiling code. It can take weeks. 4. How often will I train? Practice is not heroic. It is repetitive, boring, and consistent. Embed practice into your management routine weekly, not yearly. Let's get to it. How to practice. We practice both on the job and outside of it. Let's start with on the job. Step 1. Choose one skill you will work on. Not 5, not 10. 1. Focus your attention on it. Cognitive load hurts improvement. Pick something concrete. I will practice setting clear expectations. I will practice asking clarifying questions. I will practice giving positive feedback. I will practice saying no without guilt. Choose a single topic for the next 3 to 4 weeks. Step 2. Define your repetitions. A musician practices by repeating movements. A manager practicing by repeating conversations. Let's look at an example. Skill. Setting clear expectations. Repetition. Start every one-on-one this week by restating expectations for one task, project, or the role. Ask each direct report to paraphrase the expectation back to you. Step 3. Get feedback from reality. Practice without feedback is useless. You may get great at doing what you always do, but it doesn't mean you're getting better. You practice and then you observe how people respond. Did your direct report look confused? Did they ask fewer questions than usual? Did they follow through more accurately? Did conflict decrease or increase? Reality is your coach. You need to pay attention. Step 4. Adjust and try again. This is where some give up. They try something once, feel awkward, and revert to old habits. But adjustment is where practice pays off. Did setting expectations feel too formal? Try shorter bullet points. Did your feedback land poorly? Change timing or tone. Did delegation fail? Try delegating outcomes instead of tasks. Remember everything else you tried for the first time, like playing the trumpet, or did rarely, like building up a tent. You are not great. Persevere. Step 5. Move to the next skill. Once you see progress, decide if you want to continue or move on to the next skill. Practicing one skill at a time compounds. In 6 months, you can improve 6 major management competencies. You don't need an external training program for that. Let's look at ideas how to practice outside work, something most managers never even consider. Most managers think improvement happens only inside the job, in meetings, in one-on-ones, in performance reviews, in stressful moments of conflict. They may, and those moments may act as tests, not practice. They expose your abilities. They don't always develop them. What if you could build managerial muscles before you need them? I want to make this extremely clear. When I say practice, I'm talking about hands-on rehearsal, like a pilot training a simulator before stepping into a real cockpit. Managers need the same thing, and you can absolutely practice management outside your daily workload. Let me walk through practical ways to do it. 1. Self-reflection drills, strengthening your clarity and judgment. There are several surprisingly effective exercises you can do alone, and they are more powerful than you expect. Compare your daily work to your job description. Ask yourself, am I doing the job I was hired to do, or the job I default to because it's comfortable? Updating your job description forces clarity about expectations and gaps. Prepare for performance reviews long before you need to deliver one. Simply drafting feedback for each direct report and delivering it out loud sharpens your ability to observe performance and articulate it. Crystallize your values. Write down what you stand for as a manager, what you reward, what you tolerate, and what you never compromise on. Most managers never do this. Those who do become more consistent. Write a manager readme. Explain how you work, what you expect, what you will hold people accountable for, and how you want to be communicated with. This forces immense self-awareness, even if you never share this with anyone. Review the last 3 months and ask, what would I do differently? No shame, no excuses, just clarity and learning. Define success proactively. Answer, what does success look like in my role right now? And what might prevent it? If you can't answer these questions, you may be managing reactively, not intentionally. Ask yourself uncomfortable questions. What am I avoiding? What am I afraid to say? Where am I underleading? These questions expose blind spots without needing a crisis to reveal them. Compare your current self to previous feedback. Look at past reviews. Where have you grown? Where have you stalled? Why? All of these are practice, low risk, and they build the mental precision needed for real leadership moments. 2. Practice environments online. Safe, high-variety simulations. Join Slack workspaces for managers. These communities are goldmine for real, messy, complicated situations you can analyze. Every day, managers post dilemmas. How do I handle conflict? What do I say in this performance review? How do I deal with someone who's defensive? How do I manage up? You can read the scenario, think through the best course of action, write your solution, and then compare it with how other managers responded. This is free practice with immediate feedback. The variety of problems is great for leadership. 3. Coaching as a practice gym, not a therapy session. Coaching sessions aren't just conversations. Their assumption is that you have the agency and know best, and growth happens through thought-provoking questions. Some can be structured as simulations, a mock one-on-one, a difficult feedback conversation, building a development plan, delegation of a project, setting OKRs, handling resistance to change. You rehearse it, your coach challenges you, you get feedback instantly. This is the closest thing to a leadership flight simulator that exists, and probably an expensive alternative that you may convince your manager to fund. 4. Skill-specific practice in structured groups. Some skills are universal across leadership roles: communication, persuasion, clarity, storytelling. You can strengthen these in environments designed for practice. Toastmasters, a worldwide organization for public speaking. Workshops with interactive exercises. Management meetups that encourage discussion and life problem solving. Internal management guilds, where managers inside the company analyze cases together. Again, practice plus feedback is growth. 5. Writing as deliberate practice. This may surprise you, but writing blogs, posts, or reflections about management is another form of practice, because writing forces clarity, structure, consistency, and reflection. If you can articulate a leadership principle clearly in writing, you can articulate it clearly to your team. 6. Mentoring. Practicing through others. Being mentored is obvious. It's a shortcut where you learn from others who guide you for a long period of time. People overlook the second part. Mentoring others is also practice. Why? Because explaining concepts, breaking down problems, and advising others forces you to apply your own managerial philosophy deliberately. It exposes inconsistencies and sharpens your thinking. 7. Job interviews. Surprisingly powerful leadership practice. Yes, go interview for managerial roles. Leadership interviews often use situational or behavioral questions. Tell me about the time you resolved a conflict. How did you measure performance? How did you handle a top performer? What's your approach to delegation? The follow-up questions will go deeper, forcing you to further think things. Preparing for these questions requires deep reflection, clarity of philosophy, and structured thinking. In other words, practice. And the feedback, even if it's a rejection, expands your self-awareness. Managers don't grow accidentally. They grow on the job and through deliberate, repeated practice, which can happen outside work, without risk, without pressure. If you treat management as a craft and you practice it deliberately, you will outperform managers who rely only on anecdotal experience or gut feel. This is what separates competent managers from exceptional ones. That's it for today. Thanks for listening and keep fixing management. If you found this helpful, share it with another manager.